Hello, this is the lesson number 12 of the VariCAD training course, and this lesson is called 2D Drawing Aids. So in this lesson we are going to see about the 4 aids we can consider that are able for the users inside VariCAD program. Okay, so let us start for one aid, or aid number 1, that we can call as the grid. And as you can see on the 2D, we have a grid displayed in our screen. If I do a little zoom in, zoom out, you can see that I have some dots in my screen. And we have 2 levels of dots. One of the levels are these a little darker dots, and you have a second level with a little smoother and with more density dots. Okay, so this grid, we can use it as our guiding help to make our drawings. So for example, I can draw a line and I can do it independent of my dots. Or for example, if I click in some help that I have here, for example in my location, nearest grid point, then if I click closer to a grid point, it will grab a grid point, and I can use my functionality of the grid to grab grid points. Okay, the idea of these grid points is to have a certain and very defined distance to each of the points, and this distance I know it because I can set it, so I can use this as a known distance. So to configure this, I can go to my tools menu, I can go to auxiliary grid, and I have this dialog box in my screen. What I can do here as a definition is, first, I can have the grid displayed or not. In this case, I have it displayed. If I turn it off and do the OK, you can see that I have my 2D environment, but at this moment I don't have any grid displayed. I will turn it on again. Okay, displayed. And the rest of the configuration is about the density of the points in both axes, X and Y. Okay, I can have points shown every 5 millimeters for the smoother points, the second level, and I can have on my first level of points, the ones that are a little darker, every 50 millimeters. So this is what I have by default in VariCAD, but as you understand, I can change this. Okay, I will leave it. I think the concept is very easy for you to understand, so just do the OK and turn the grid on again. The second aid that we have inside VariCAD is what we call the ortho mode. Okay, and the ortho mode is something that I can also turn it on or off, and does something like this. In my what I can call free mode, if I try to draw a line, as you can see here, I can draw it in any direction. Okay, I don't have any restriction about being horizontal or vertical or whatever. I'm doing it free. The problem of this being free is that I don't control what is drawn in this line, so I don't know what is done here. So in many cases, or I can say in all the cases, we need to control what is being drawn. And in some cases of the drawings we need to make, we must have vertical or horizontal lines, and we must assure to the program that these are conditions that he will respect. So with this purpose, I can have also in my tools menu the ortho modes, these functions here which help me to work with the ortho. The first one is the ortho on that I can use also with the F11, okay? So ortho on. Now if I try to make a line, you see that I'm restricted to use only vertical or horizontal, okay? I think this is very convenient. On the same base, and to turn it off, I have the ortho off below that I can use also as Control F11. If I do the ortho off, if I try to draw my line again, you see that I don't have any restriction. Then you have also this ortho next horizontal, and basically this makes the ortho on connected or on, but with the assumption that the first line I draw is horizontal. So if I click one point, you see that it does not allow me to make a vertical, but after I make a horizontal, then okay, I can draw vertical. So basically it says what is the format of the first line I make. And below we have something very similar that says ortho, the next one will be vertical. So exactly same stuff, but now the restriction is the first one should be vertical. Okay, very easy to understand. Now I have two more functions that say ortho close to horizontal or vertical, and this function is used to define if I'm drawing more or less free, if I'm close to the horizontal state or vertical state, it will automatically recognize as a horizontal or vertical what will be the case. And below I have the ortho as a definition to work with the function above. So here I can say which is the limit angle where this recognition is done. So I will do a little bigger value so that it's possible to see it better. So I will use a 20-degree limit. Okay, too much. Let's try to open a little, okay, 10 degrees. Now, if I use a line, I have it still on, so ortho close to vertical or horizontal. So when I try to go, you see, when I try to go horizontal but I still have an angular line, it will automatically says no, this is horizontal because it's on the limit of the 10 degrees for both sides, okay? And the same for the vertical ones, okay? So I think in terms of the ortho, I think it's quite easy to understand. There is no confusion, but it's a useful functionality, so in specific cases it's interesting to use. The third aid mode is called increment cursor movements, and this is something that I can use in addition with my grid. And basically also on the tools menu I have something that is called these three functions here: cursor movement in increments, set the increments and turn it off. So basically I will turn it on. I have some definition, okay, and I can have a definition, for example, saying, okay, let us do increments of 5 millimeters, okay. Then if I try to draw something, Okay, let us grab, for example, a grid point near here, and you see now that my mouse is jumping from point to point because I have on the grid 5 millimeters and I have on this increment mode also 5. It was the purpose was for you to see the connection, and for sure you understand that this can be, and it depends on the case, it can be a different value, but as an example I've connected both. So I can have this definition done and use in conjunction with the grid, so it's quite easy to control the distance in case of straight lines. Okay. Also there, okay, I turn it on, I connected the increments, and I can turn it off. So now if I try to, you see that now I have free mode again. Okay. Basically is done by those commands. For the end, I would like to show you what I can call the fourth aid mode in VariCAD, and this is called construction lines. Okay, I will clean these lines here to be easier to see what I intend to show. And these construction lines are under the objects, drawing aids, and I have these commands here. Create multiple construction lines, horizontal or vertical, which have more functions inside, angular, which have also more functions, delete, and basically are these 4 groups. So first, this is a little all about the same, but I will go to the more easy one, which is horizontal or vertical. So a single horizontal line. So I can click on the screen with these aids or not, but free. Okay, and I can make a line. This is horizontal construction line. The first important point to notice about this is that the construction line is something that has no end. Okay, when you draw a normal line, you see that basically this is a segment. It has a beginning and an end. Construction line is infinite on the environment. So this is in some work, or if the user has a method to work that he understands this concept, is quite useful, because sometimes when we are doing some auxiliary construction, we can find very easy intersection points and some things like those with these lines. So I've done a horizontal line. I will show you some others functionalities. Horizontal, the vertical is the same, okay? And you can see that these construction lines, independent of being a little different lines from the normal ones, they can be used as a normal line because they show intersections and so on. If I make, for example, a line that crosses the construction lines, you see that the intersection between the construction line and the normal line, it's here. For example, to show you a little more about this, tangent, vertical or horizontal basically is the same. So, okay, it can be done like this. It's quite easy. And the very cool functionality about these construction lines is that when we print the sheet, these construction lines, independent of being on the screen, they are not shown. So, for example, if I try to do a print, and I will do the print for, it doesn't matter, the printer, you see that the print preview does not show any construction lines, which is quite cool, okay? and it is a big advantage of using these construction lines. Still on the construction lines and on this first menu, I have also these possibilities of doing some offsets, horizontal or vertical, where I can choose one of the constructions and say the direction and say, for example, 20. Okay, this kind of stuff is possible, very easy. And basically all the functions, okay, these horizontal, vertical, offsets or firm point, it's basically the same. And if we go to the angular, basically it has the same functions. A single one, okay, I can choose 1 point, okay. And now you've seen this and you can ask, which is this angle, okay. I will show you. The offset or the tangent is the same. Okay, offset, I have this point again, I can do something 20 again, okay, and it's very easy. I can do the same for the tangent, okay. I can click on the circle, very easy to create a tangent. And I have here this define angle 1, define angle 2. Okay, I can use this in several cases. And let me try to define angle 1. Okay, it was 30, which is the angle you can see here. I will make now the 45. And if I try to do now angular, for example, tangent, okay, angular 1, if I click on the circle, now it is different. It has a different angle. Okay, the angle 2 can be used. We have some functions also that you can see on the menus. For example, for the angular 2, okay, the purpose of this is to have, instead of having just one angle defined, I can have, to start, I can have 2 angles instead of 1, but you can do it only with 1 also, because you can define, every time you need a new angle, you can go and define it. We have still this command that we have not seen, that basically resumes what we have on the other commands. So, or I can do here with these lines, angular, horizontal, vertical. With this, I can create angular with the definition of the angle that we've seen before. Okay, and do this 30 millimeters, or the angle 2 that we did not define. Okay, basically we can do a dynamic drag. Okay, basically, and for sure we can click point, so or the measure as offset, or dragging increments also. So basically it's a little about the same, with some variations of the standard functions. To end this topic of the construction lines, we have the delete. We can keep the construction lines and, for example, to put them all in just one layer. But if we try to delete by the normal function, you see that it does not detect these lines. So that is why we have a specific function to work only with the construction lines, and it is under here, delete construction lines. And we can do it on the selected one. Okay, we can do it all horizontal. We can do all vertical, all angular, okay, or delete all construction lines, okay. So with this, I think the fourth drawing aid the construction lines are shown. So the purpose of this, and especially for the construction line, which is already, we can call it being drawing aid, but it's already a little about drawing. And I think the concept, the most important thing, it was passed here, which is the possibility to draw, to grab the points, to interact with the normal entities, and the very cool possibility or functionality, saying a little better, the very cool functionality that these lines do not appear in our print or plot, even that they are on the screen, which is very useful. So with this, we finish this lesson, and I hope to see you on the next lesson.